The hits from the Supreme Court just keep on coming. That whole like separation of church and state thing, that was quaint for a bit. They tolerated it sort of, never liked it, and now they're continuing to blast big holes in it. It's not about chipping away at it anymore. They're doing far more than that. So, and this is even before the Roe v. Wade thing. We're gonna get to that in a month or so. The US Supreme Court just yesterday ruled that Maine must include religious schools in a state tuition program that sends tax dollars to aid private schools. The case is Carson versus Macon, concerns a program that requires districts without public secondary schools to either educate children by partnering with neighboring public schools or pay for tuition at a private school of the parents' choosing. Until Tuesdays, parents could not opt to send their children to religious institutions. Let's sort of guess the reason for that was so that your taxpayer dollars weren't directly subsidizing a religion that you might not agree with. I think that might be the reason. Well, no, now that is not only what can happen, that is now that has been allowed all over the country, they're going to be racing to make sure that happens. As much money as possible goes into funding those schools, anything to help defund actual secular public education. That's what they're gonna do. Now, hypothetically, if it can go to religious schools, it can go to any sort of religious schools. It could be secondary Hindu schools or Muslim schools, or I'm not even gonna waste your time by pretending that is a thing that's going to happen, because that is not going to happen. They would never allow it. This isn't about religious freedom. This is about placing Christianity atop literally everything else. Maybe neck and neck with the idea of whiteness, but those two things basically, JR, are what they're excited about. That's what they're fighting for.
Again, it's one of those things that gets pushed all the time when they talk about school funding and let's get rid of the Department of Education and how about school choice. Like all these are different angles towards them sucking more of the actual potential power out of our school system that we already neglect to outstanding degrees already. So again, but then it's based in specific kind of religious schools. I would love to see this start to get used in other religions in their schools and really see what they have to say. Because obviously it's a bit of an interchangeable word when it comes to conservatives in the country. When they talk about, hey, religious freedom, what they mean is Christianity dominating religion is what they're trying to say. Because Christianity in this country has always been fought against. It's always been on the back burner. No one ever talks about it. There's no power structure around it. They don't skirt any tax laws. None of those things really happen with Christianity in this country, but in reality it does. But as long as they keep this narrative going that they're this oppressed group, then we need to redirect some more money so we can have more Christian belief systems. And what happens in some of these Christian schools is they teach anti-LGBTQ belief systems, also sending people off for some kind of reform therapy because they're not real humans if they don't have the same thought processes or attraction to people that they deem necessary. This is what it's gonna help fund. It's another roundabout way to push the same belief system that the majority of Americans just don't believe in.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you said that sometimes that's what it is in this case. So in this particular case, the plaintiffs sought taxpayer dollars to send their children to 2 Christian schools that integrate religion in their classrooms, and what do you know, maintain policies against gay and transgender students and staff. The 2 schools describe themselves as seeking to instill a biblical worldview in students, well, their own particular dogmatic idea of what that worldview should be, that doesn't actually comport with anything in the Bible, but they find it convenient to say that it does. They refuse to hire gay teachers or admit gay and transgender students. Bangor Christian Schools teaches that a husband is the leader of the household and includes a class in which students learn to refute the teachings of the Islamic religion with the truth of God's word. So it is not only going to a school that has Christianity, it is blocking whose salary can be paid with that. You can't be gay or transgender. Also, it is aggressive against other religions. That is what, if you live in Maine, you're going to be subsidizing, and God only knows what other states are going to be doing soon. That's what they're going to be doing. I mean, it's absolute madness, obviously. That's what they're like. Amy Coney Barrett, they didn't choose her like for her rigorous secular understanding of the Constitution and laws. That's not what they chose these people for. They chose them for this. Like, are we becoming a fascist state? Yes. Is white supremacy at the core of it? Yes. But Christian nationalism, Christian supremacy is a big part of it too.
It's crazy, that one line, refute the teachings of the Islamic religion with the truth of God's word. Flip that and act like an Islamic school was teaching the opposite. Refute the teachings of Christianity with the truth of Islam and Allah's word.
Yeah. Do you think they'd be okay with that?
Oh.
Does anybody think that they'd be okay with that? If I set up, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm setting up as realistic as I can of a Hogwarts I want money. I got Hogwarts, I'm setting it up. I want your money, I want your taxpayer dollars. I have a story that will inform my lessons too. Can you do that? No, no, this entire thing is absolute madness.
Try.
It's absolute madness. Look, if you wanna have your religion, have your goddamn religion. It's not supposed to be publicly funded. There has barely been a separation of church and state. It's mostly been a thing of norms, and as we know, norms are worth nothing. But now it is directly funding, and they don't pay taxes, so it's not even a two-way road of money. It is literally just their parasite on the state. That's what it is.
And maybe the rest of the craziness that's happened allows those lines to be blurred without us knowing what's really happening. My last thought.
Maybe, yeah, maybe people won't pay as much attention to this.
Absolutely.
Well, anyway, if you're watching on our linear platforms or on the podcast, thank you so much for watching. But if you're on Twitch or YouTube, Members app, and a bunch of other stuff, we've got a lot more programming for you. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're talking about this absolute madness of a Juneteenth sign after this.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.